some gratitude for this breeze.
Yeah, for sure.
This all worked out so well, and I should have given Sarah behind some props when she was here. Her daughter Whitney helped to arrange all the details, but Sarah and Pat Hintz got this presidential suite so that we could all use it and kind of have it just for team activities. So just want to, you see Sarah, thank her for that. Also, of course, want to thank so many of you leaders that are here, bringing your teams here. Miranda, thanks for being here. All your team. Jess, thanks for being here. The Shedders, Derek Oldert, his team that are here. Amber, you and your team. The whole Hawaii team. You guys are grabbing commitment to get over here. So thank you. So this is just something that we knew would be such a cherry on top of the day. Becky's become a really close friend. She is one of those Facebook connections that you just can't describe. Someone had reached out and said, one of Andrew's actually big marketing clients messaged me and said, I know you guys do mental wellness and my wife is like in a dark place with postpartum. Like, do you have some resources? And I was thinking, I really don't. So I looked in our local moms page and everyone was kind of pointing to Becky and what she was doing. So that's how our relationship started. And here she is, and she's here, and it's just been so great to have you here. So I'll let her share a little more of the details of her background, but she's going to walk us through something really special today. So make yourself comfortable, and thank you guys all for being here. I hope you guys feel the love and how thankful we are for you guys. So go ahead and take it away.
Okay, thank you. Well, it's an honor to be here and experience this weekend with you guys, and it is even more of an honor to be here and to speak to you individually tonight. I hope that you guys can hear me. If you can't, just wave and I'll try to holler louder. And then just get comfy. We're going to be here just for a little bit. I've got a couple of demonstrations and I'll tell you all about that in just a second. So before I introduce myself, I need a volunteer. Somebody that would be willing to come up. Okay. Yeah, okay. Good. All right. Yay. Off the bat. What is your name? Greg. Nice to meet you. Does everybody know Greg? No? Yes? Yeah.
Hi, Greg.
Hi, Greg.
Well, tell them again a little bit about yourself and I would like to know, why did you come this weekend?
I came because I was really excited. I came because I was super curious. I came because I was able to. That was kind of a big one. Almost wasn't. I'm a retired firefighter. My wife said too young to be retired. So yeah, I'm just soaking it all in, liking the energy, and yeah.
Good. I love it. Okay. Well, I have an experiment to do with him, with Greg. Maybe we should come over here since I have a bunch of our people. So, will you do me a favor? And yep, will you hold your arm out just like this in a fist? Okay. And I'm gonna touch you. Okay. So I'm gonna push down. You try to hold your arm up as strong as you can. Okay. Yeah. He's pretty strong. Okay. Now I'm going to ask you to do something a little uncomfortable, but I need you to do this because we're going to show something really powerful. I want you to say out loud, I can't do it, I'm not good enough, and I'm incapable 5 times in a row.
I can't do it.
I'm not good enough.
I'm not good enough. I'm incapable. I can't do it. I'm not good enough. I'm incapable. I can't do it. I'm not good enough. I'm incapable. I can't do it. I'm not good enough. I'm incapable. I can't do it. I'm not good enough. I'm incapable.
Okay, hold strong, hold strong. Okay, good. Okay, we're gonna do it again. This time I want you to say, I am confident, I am good enough, and I am worthy.
I am confident. I am good enough. I am worthy. I am confident. I am good enough. I am worthy. I am confident. I am good enough. I am worthy. I am confident. I am good enough. I am worthy. I am confident. I am good enough. I am worthy.
Good. Hold strong. Hold strong. Hold strong. Good. I promise I'm pushing just as hard as I can. Good. Okay, so this is just a physical demonstration of how powerful our thoughts are. And not just emotionally, not just mentally, but physically as well, psychologically, physiologically, excuse me. So we can clearly see the difference between what he was saying and how his brain received those messages and how that impacted his physical strength, right? And so now we're going to do a little bit deeper. I'm going to hand you a piece of paper, and you're going to think these words in your head. And after you are done with that, we're going to do the arm test again, okay? So think them 5 times in a row, just like before. strong, be strong, be strong. Okay, good. Will you tell the crowd what your note said?
I'm super weak. No, I I am unloved. I can't do it. I don't deserve it.
Okay, good. Give me that. Let's throw that away, right? I'd like for you to read this. Think this in your head 5 times in a row. We'll do it again.
Slow reading.
Okay, be strong, fist. Be strong, be strong, be strong. Good. Okay, what did that paper say?
It said, I am smart. I am loved. I am deserving.
Okay, so not only does it affect us when we say it out loud, but it affects us when we think these thoughts as well. And isn't it truth that we probably think these thoughts more than we actually say them out loud? At least that's my case. So I want to do another amazing demonstration. Will you go in the room and like cover your ears and just hum a tune or something so you can't hear me? Okay?
How long?
Just I'll have Lisa go grab them.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're good. So now I'm going to ask a big favor from all of you, and this is going to be really awful, but please bear with me. There's a purpose, okay? I want you to look him in the eyes, and I want you to say, you are not worthy, you can't do it, and you are unloved, or something of that light, okay? Just so thinking negative thoughts, looking at him directly, okay?
I'm not saying it out loud.
Not saying it out loud, you're
say
just
it.
thinking it. Okay? Okay, you're just gonna look at him and think it. Lisa, will you grab him?
I don't like this.
I know it's it's so bad. Thanks, Greg. Okay. Audience knows what to do. You're just gonna stand there and look at the audience, and we're going to do something. Okay? Okay, arm out, fist. Be strong, be strong, be strong. Okay. Will you go back to the place, please?
It's torture. Exercise.
Okay. That was tough. So now, can we just love on Greg? Can we think all the beautiful things about Greg? I want you to say you were beautiful, you were loved, you were smart, you were worthy, you were capable, you are powerful. Whatever it is, just pour that love onto him, okay? Okay, please grab him. Such a trooper. Thank you. Okay. Audience knows what to do. You just stand there. Okay. Okay, arm. Be strong. Y'all!
Wow.
That's amazing. Okay, I cannot tell you how much we appreciate your volunteer. And continue to love on him just like we did in that last demonstration. So Greg, the first time you came out, they were thinking, I asked them something terrible. I asked them to think something negative about you. I know, so bad. It was terrible. But you saw just how weak you were from that first demonstration. And then this last time I told them to think something incredible about you and to love on you. And you were so strong in that. So not only, you guys, are our thoughts so powerful to our own physical, emotional, psychological, physiological body, our thoughts affect each other. So the next time you are frustrated at one of your enrollments because they aren't doing what they said they were going to do, and you're thinking these negative thoughts, remember that's affecting her or him. The next time your spouse, your partner says they're going to do the dishes and they didn't do the dishes, remember your thoughts are affecting them. Whew, okay, that was good. That was good. Thank you, Greg. I'll be touching on that throughout the presentation tonight, but I suppose I should introduce myself and tell you a little bit about me. I appreciate you guys being patient and letting me read my notes because I will have squirrel moments and I want to stay focused. So thank you to Janelle, thank you to Andrew, where was he? I see him somewhere. Oh, there, hi. Thank you for inviting me to be out here, first of all. I really, truly appreciate it. You are an incredible group of people, an incredible team that you guys have. So my name is Becky Lauritsen. I'm a daughter of God, a wife to a ridiculously handsome cowboy. His name is Tyler. I'm a mother of two beautiful girls, Briar, who's almost 5, and Bristol, who is almost 9 months old. And we live in northern Colorado, just outside of Fort Collins. We live on our 12-acre home with our horses, our dogs, and a goat named Baby Goat. And so, after competing on the rodeo team, so I'm a country girl, I'm proud of it, okay? I decided I would get a master's degree in counseling because, y'all, I didn't know what else to do. Who else thinks it's ridiculous that you need to decide what you're gonna do for the rest of your life when you haven't even lived a quarter of your life? So I figured, well, I'll do something, I'll get a degree in something I'm good at, which was relationships. So I went on and got a master's in counseling. So once I graduated, I was like ready to hit the workforce. I was excited about what was to come, and we moved back to Colorado to be closer to family, and I thought I landed the dream job. Who else has thought they've landed the dream job? I was employed by a group counseling center and basically doing mental health therapy full-time with that clientele. So only 3 years into my career, I was suffering from major burnout. A recent Gallup study of nearly 7,500 full-time employees found that 23% of employees reported feeling burned out every week, or very often or always, while an additional 44% reported feeling burnt out sometimes. So that means about 2/3 of the workforce is experiencing burnout. And then it's specific to my field, mental health and counseling, 2 in every 3 are experiencing high levels of burnout. I was part of that statistic. My daughter was only about 6 months old at the time. I was working way too many hours trying to keep up with the quota. I was the yes girl. I was saying yes to all the things, all the cases, all the people. I wanted to earn an income to start paying off this crazy amount of student loan debt I accrued there. And then at this stage also, I was mainly doing play therapy and working with kids in the foster care system, and that was hard, as you can imagine. So that's when I hit my breaking point. And I'm sorry to disappoint that my breaking point was it's not a dramatic and interesting story. It's really quite boring. I was living the mundane lifestyle, clocking in, clocking out, living life on autopilot, feeling fatigued, feeling irritable, right? I see some heads nodding, you guys know. Bringing work home, bringing home to work, and just feeling unhappy and unfulfilled. And I think the worst part of it, my major breaking point, was I just missed being me. You know, I missed being the girl that would go on a last-minute rodeo trip to Manhattan, Kansas with a boy who ended up to be my husband. I missed the girl who would dance on tables, and not like that, y'all, okay? And sing karaoke as loud as I could without hitting a note. The me who would call my best friend and just laugh until my cheeks hurt, right? And talk for hours. I missed the me who genuinely cared about other people's well-being. That's when I realized that my unhappiness and my unfulfillment was affecting my whole system, my family, my life, my career, everything. So I did what every practical person would do. I quit. I didn't have a plan. I had no backup. I just ended up quitting. I let my license expire and everything, and that's a big deal in my world. So I was done. This is when God knew exactly what I needed, and I was actually approached with a cosmetic direct sales company. Looking back, I laugh because there's just no way I would have ever done that, right? I mean, some of you in here probably are like, oh, there's no way I'll ever do a direct sales, but here we are. But instead, I decided to join, and for the next 3 years of my life, it completely changed my life. Just like what you guys are experiencing here with Amari, it was unbelievable what happened when you started to surround yourself with like-minded people, when you felt the difference. Like I felt the difference when I started to believe in myself. I understood the power of my thoughts. and understood the power of the law of attraction as well. And then I finally realized that I have control over my future. I don't have to just live on autopilot. So it was because of this experience that led me to overcome my fear of public speaking, my cringe of selling, my lack of business skills, my ignorance for financial freedom, the list goes on. But gratefully, through hard work, belief, and determination, I was able to replace my full-time income, I was able to earn 3 career cars, and debut 4th in the nation of my debuting class. So it was truly a beautiful experience what I had in that moment. And I really do commend each of you for being here and investing in your future, but more importantly, investing in yourself. This is, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face, this is probably one of the most powerful and the most cheap personal development courses that you'll ever take, is joining something like Amari. So while I was working through this, I still had this deep calling that I finally started to listen to, and it was really about mental health. And I love counseling, I love that field, but I realized I needed to do it in my own way, that I needed to step away from the traditional mental health field that is out there right now. So that's what led me to be here in front of you today, what led Janelle and I to connect, and what led me to creating my business called IOME. It's an IOME instead of an IOU, and we offer guilt-free self-care. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about self-care with that. So over and over, no matter if it was me as a therapist or me as a leader in direct sales, no matter what it was, I was alarmed by how little people took care of themselves. I was alarmed to see how many people, successful people, were suffering from low self-esteem, from limiting beliefs, from past trauma, from anxiety, depression. I mean, the list goes on and on. And so I wanted to create something, not just because the traditional mental health was, I'm feeling suicidal, I'm gonna go to therapy. No, I didn't wanna just work with somebody in that state. I wanna work to prevent the suicidal ideation, to prevent the mental health struggles, right? Just like Amari's here, and just like you guys all believe as well. So I believe that that can be done through consistent and uncomfortable self-care, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So you deserve the best because your loved ones deserve the best of you, not the rest of you. We've all heard the saying, right? You can't pour from an empty cup. So let me ask you, how's your cup? Is it full? Is it empty? Is it broken? What does your cup look like? Are you feeling unfulfilled? Are you feeling like you're close to your breaking point? If you have any indication that says yes, then I would ask you, how is your self-care? And I would really challenge you to actually answer that truthfully. So, and then I would ask even further, but before we get into more of the self-care, I want to debunk something. So there's self-care and then there's self-indulgence, okay? And I think people get those mixed up, and I think the reason that we can kind of cringe when we hear self-care, like, oh great, I don't have the money to go to a spa day all day, right? So self-indulgence is characterized by doing or tending to do exactly what one wants, especially when this involves pleasure, lacking control. Self-care, the practice of taking an active role in protecting one's own well-being and happiness. I'll read that definition again. The practice of taking an active role in protecting one's own well-being and happiness. I love that. I would also call it uncomfortable self-care, okay? It's not just the bubble bath and a glass of wine, although that's really great, let's be clear, but it's going to be the uncomfortable things, the waking up an hour early so you can do your prayer time, meditation, journal time, whatever that looks like. It's gonna be saying no to the unhealthy food choice and saying yes to something healthier, more enriching. It's gonna be, oh gosh, the list could go on and on. It's gonna be saying your affirmations and writing them down versus just ignoring them, right? Those are the things that are gonna be the uncomfortable one. So mental health, it's going to therapy, right? That's uncomfortable. So let's talk about that a little bit. I think we all have that in common, right? We're all mental health advocates in here, and I think that's so cool. It's so much fun for me to be in part of this big movement and seeing that happen. It's long time overdue, so it's so cool to be a part of that. And it's really neat because then I can refer clients over and say, hey, try this. Okay, so you see, our brains are built to protect us. It does not want us to feel anything uncomfortable. Janelle made a really good point of this in her presentation today, that we do what's normal for us, right? So it does not want us to step outside of that comfort zone because it's unknown. You know, it has no idea if it's gonna be safe or not. It has no proof or evidence that you'll be okay. So you do the same old same, day in and day out, right? But the minute you step outside of that comfort zone, you start to train your brain that you're gonna be okay. Your brain's gonna think, okay, it seems safe, I could probably go out a little bit further. And then the second you step outside of that, you have a world of growth in front of you. And your brain's now going to be rewired, just like Janelle said so beautifully, rewired to think that that's its new normal. Like public speaking, for example. So, it's easier said than done, of course. So I think the biggest thing that keeps us from this is fear, and we heard a lot about that today actually, which was really neat. So fear isn't a sign that you're doing something wrong, it's a sign that you're doing something new. So reminding yourself that it's just new, your brain doesn't know. If you can just take yourself out of it and be like, okay brain, what are you doing? You know, I think that can help us in a lot of different ways. So just like, again, what Janelle had said, our brains are malleable. They're able to change. We can rewire those. So if you are thinking negative thoughts, and if you've been thinking negative thoughts for the last 30 years, then that's what your brain's gonna default to, are those negative wires, those negative pathways. We have to start to rewire that. It's gonna be hard, right? You better get the pick and the axe out. You're gonna rewire these, you're gonna retrain your brain, but it's gonna be so incredible that when you default, you'll just go to those positive thoughts. Okay, so the psychosomatic effect is pretty unbelievable, as we saw with Greg demonstrating that, right? You saw what happens just from like, what, a 5-minute demonstration, let alone 35 years of thinking something negative. So just remembering that it's so powerful. I remember I was working full-time several years ago in that old position I was telling you about, and we were moving, and my daughter was 3 months old, so it was all this postpartum stuff, and I broke out in full body hives. I mean, the kind of hives that my husband did not recognize me. My eyes were so swollen. I could probably find a picture if you guys wanted to laugh, but my feet were so swollen I couldn't walk. It was terrible. And like I said, I was raised country, so I'm the tough girl. I'm not gonna go to the doctors. And so a couple days into it, finally I was like drugged to the urgent care, and I get in there and I'm all swollen, and the receptionist gal's just like, we have a code, something, I have no idea. And they were starting to pull me back into the back. I'm like, well, don't you need to scan my insurance card? Like, what are you doing? Anyways, 2 shots in the butt later, I was fine. But that's the thing there is I didn't do anything out of the norm. I didn't eat anything new. I didn't change the laundry detergent. I didn't do anything outside of my normal. And so they just chalked it up as stress. What? I mean, it's just unbelievable to see the difference that the psychosomatic effect that we can have. Okay, back on track. So, affirmations, right? Who here says their affirmations every day? Okay. Okay. So it wasn't my master's degree that taught me about affirmations. It was actually my direct sales company. And Janelle, you did such a good job explaining about it. I loved how simple that thought of, it was the 3 most powerful letters, because what's after that really defines who you are, right? I am not good enough, or I am good enough, right? So that was so powerful. Okay. The reason that that's so difficult is because it's uncomfortable, right? The brain isn't used to you saying, I am beautiful, right? I used to cringe at that thought, and that's because the brain wasn't used to me ever thinking that. So we just have to, systematic desensitization, right? We have to just introduce a little bit at a time. The brain starts to recognize, like, okay, I am beautiful. Yeah, that's right, girl, you are. So you gotta start doing that, right? You gotta be able to desensitize that. Okay, that's what I want you to start envisioning, is what would it look like if those affirmations were true. Start painting that picture. Start familiarizing your brain with what it looks like if you were a servant leader. What would it look like if you were financially free? What would it feel like if you were fulfilled and happy, right? Really start creating that vision, because then your brain's gonna recognize it like, yeah, that is the truth. Absolutely. And it's gonna rock it, and it won't fight you the whole way, okay? Okay, so now I wanna be able to, I've kind of talked a lot about the mental health. I wanna be able to have you guys have some tangible skills that you can walk away with to challenge your self-care routine. So in Naomi, I've created a simple, and again, simple, not easy, because by definition, easy means without effort. So this is simple. 5-day self-care challenge. Janelle took this with me, and it was so much fun. So I'm just gonna give you a brief overview. If you guys wanted to download this, it is on my website, because it's just a printable form that you can download to where you're doing this as soon as you get home. Could you text them my website or put it somewhere? Okay. Awesome. Yep, and then it's just a free download there on the website. So, so these are the tools that you guys are going to be able to do. Day one is time. You will not find the time to practice self-care. You have to make the time. You have to create the time. So the first challenge is to do a time study. And a time study is you are going to track what you did do instead of what you planned to do. So a whole week you're going to track, okay, I spent 30 minutes scrolling on Facebook before I got out of bed. Okay, it's gonna be I spent 2 hours on Netflix when I should have been sleeping. It's gonna be I slept until this time, whatever it looks like, but you're gonna be truthful about that, okay? And you're gonna recognize where you might be wasting time, where you could change some things around. Instead of snoozing, maybe you wake up 30 minutes earlier to meditate, to pray, to journal. Day two is words. I think we've demonstrated the power of words already, but I'm also going to do a fun little well, it's not very fun actually, but we're gonna do something at the end as well. Day three is the body. I do believe that it's this holistic part, just like Amari as well. So self-care involves the whole person, the mind, the body, and the spirit, the soul, whatever you call it. Whether that's gonna be grounding techniques, breathing techniques, find what works for you. I've given a couple examples in the document, but find what works for you, okay? Day four is self-awareness. Who here takes personality tests, or anybody know their Enneagram number? Okay. Yes, I love those things. They're so much fun. I love the Enneagram. That's one of my favorites. I do have the link on the download as well. So go on there, just take your Enneagram and see what it says. It's really cool to just have another perspective. Know that you don't have to be completely married to that, but just be able to reflect and see if it has any good aha moments for yourself. It's really good for your partner, by the way, because then you can say, see, I told you. Okay, and then the last one is gratitude. So being able to simply write down your gratitude, 3 things that you're thankful for every day before you go to bed. Do that for a week and see how that changes. See how that changes who you are, changes your family, your system. I love this quote. Did you really have a bad day, or did you just have a bad 5 minutes and you milked it all day? Oh, I heard that and I was like, ouch, words do hurt. Okay, so like I said, you can download that on my website if you'd like to really do it. And I would hold you accountable to it. And I may even tell Janelle to hold you accountable to doing it, okay? Okay, so as I wrap up here, I'd love to do another little exercise. I want us to think about, briefly, don't hold a lot of power to it, but think about some of those negative thoughts that you do have. The I ams, they can be subconscious, but you could be very aware of those as well. Whatever it is, if it's a fear base, if it's anxiety, if it's a confidence level, whatever it is that you kind of find yourself thinking, I would love for you to just make that present. And even if you wanted to say it out loud and be brave, that would be really cool. I'll tell you mine. Some of mine have been, I'm not good enough. Why me? Like all the people, why me, right? I'm not that special. I don't deserve to be financially free. I can't afford that. Anybody else want to share some of theirs?
I always have the when I ...
Yes.
You know, that one's really, it's been so strong over the last month especially.
Okay.
When I, then I'll.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what am I doing to myself?
Yeah, exactly.
And
Good.
silly things my stomach the other day. I was like, oh, when I do this, and I was like, Amy, really? Like your body has anything to do with like how you're showing up in the world?
That's powerful. Good. Thank you for sharing that. She said the when I, like, so when I do this, then I'll do that. That's another powerful one. That's more of the subconscious stuff, right? Like we don't really feel like that's affecting us, but it totally is. Yeah, appreciate you sharing that. So make sure you have some of yours right here ready to access, okay? So now if you have your phones, pull out your phone, please. Go to your photo album and pull up a picture of someone you love. It could be your child or children. It could be a partner, a niece or nephew. I would encourage it to be somebody young if you have someone. It could be a fur baby, of course. Your best friend. Any one of those, okay? I'll give you a minute to find a picture that really resonates with you. When you look at that picture, you know, you can just feel the love. So once you find your picture, just gaze into it. Feel the love that your heart is showing you and telling you. Recognize how much you love this person. Recognize how you want the very best for them. Now, I want you to imagine saying those same words to that person. You're not good enough. You're undeserving of happiness. You can't do that. Why you? You're not that special. You aren't beautiful. You're too